So I guess I'm lucky when I'm talking about step parents. Um, I see so many posts with people having a lot of issues with the step parents when you're dealing with the biological parent and they have children coming into the relationship. You know, I think it's pretty sad that step parents take their issues out on their partner's biological children. Um, the children didn't ask to be here, and it's unfortunate that they make the children feel that type of way. But what's the worst part is the biological parent not standing up for their biological children, by the other parent, by the absent parent. Things don't work out sometimes, and, for the benefit of the child and for it not to be so toxic and unhealthy, people have to part ways. That's just a part of life. But what I don't condone is the parent is siding with their partner to ostracize their blood children that has to be a part of his new family. Why can't people just treat each other, the proper way, as far as, making the other children feel welcome? In my family, I really didn't see a lot of, a lot of the foolishness until I truly opened up my eyes. But if the parent is allowing it to happen, they're just as guilty. They're just as worse as, just as guilty and as worse as the step parent. A lot of children are being victimized, ostracized, and pushed away from the absent parent. And I think it's truly sad because every child deserves to have both parents, whether they're together in a relationship or not. Step parents shouldn't have the right to treat the child a bad way, even if, if they have a child together, if they're sharing a child together. Because I'm sure if the step parent comes in with children from an outside relationship, they expect for their spouse, whether it be the husband, the wife, the girlfriend, or the boyfriend, to accept their children. So why can't it be both ways? You know what I'm saying? To co-parent is a healthy thing as long as there's some boundaries. See, in my experience, with my child, and his father, we didn't have to worry about that because the person that he chose, the wife that he has, is a wonderful person. You understand? They have children, and my son doesn't look at them as any different, like those are my step brothers and sisters or my half brothers and sisters or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they all have the same father. We have different mothers, but same father. There's never any part where we can't never communicate and where I have to worry about, where I ever had to worry about her mistreating my son because she's in a relationship with his father. I didn't have to worry about his father mistreating him, because he was in a relationship with her. There has to be some type of balance. My son is grown now anyway, but at the end of the day, it was always a healthy situation. It's always one of the parents that has to be able to stand up for the child that is coming from the outside relationship, And I just think it's sad that kids have to be affected by, people that just can't get their emotions in check. You know what I'm saying? You coming into a relationship and you got daddy issues or you got mommy issues, it's not the child or your partner's job to make you feel secure. If you're already feeling insecure, that's something that you need to fix. But I think that whoever you're in a relationship need to hold you accountable. But they also need to make sure that they're willing to accept the outside children. You understand? And if they can't accept the outside children, I don't understand why the relationship has to continue. I mean, you love who you love, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't have to be. It should be discussed in the relationship. Why have children from, a previous relationship? Is this going to be a problem? somewhere, somehow, the parent has to stand up for the children. You understand? Regardless of how old they are. I'm 54 years old. And my parents have remarried. They remarried, they split up when I was at age 13. If their spouses don't accept their biological children and my parents go along with their spouse, then it's a problem. Because maybe the parent is siding with their spouse because they don't like their own biological children. You got to think about that. But I think it's really despicable. I'm seeing a lot more posts than I've ever seen before in my years of living, of people talking about how step parents mistreat the outside children from the outside relationship. I know it's been happening a long time, but it just seems like it's coming more to the forefront now. And I just think it's really sad. People need to start thinking about the kids and how you make the kids feel. You understand? And then when they go back to the parent that they, really live with, or the one that's responsible for them, they'll start acting out, or they feel some type of way. Why can't you show love all the way around? And if you have children that's from the outside, coming into your new relationship, why can't everybody be treated the same? It's something to think about, people. Something to think about. And it doesn't matter how old the child is, because I'm 54. And if I see that my step parents are not treating my siblings right or treating myself right, I look at the parents. I look at my parents like, hey, you're not going to stand up for me? You're not going to back me up? Because if not, that's the issue all by itself. That's another issue. And we could talk a lot about that. But I'm just saying, when you have kids that can't stand up for themselves, they can't defend themselves, the kids depend on that parent in order to back them up and support them. And when a child sees that and they grow older, like to get to my age, then they withdraw from the parents. It makes them feel a certain way. And then the parents are sitting there figuring out, well, why my child feel this way? Why they want to communicate with me? Why they don't like me? A lot of thoughts run in their mind. You got to think about it. You made your child feel this way. Nobody wants to depart from their family. But you got to think to yourself, how did I make that person feel? How did I make my child feel? Did I make them feel unloved? Did I treat them unfair? Or what is it? And sometimes it just could be the fact that the child is uncomfortable around the new family because they're feeling jealous and they're feeling out of place. But that's a conversation that you should have with the child when they're young, or right from the forefront. That they don't ever have to worry about somebody taking their place. They will always be your child. There's nobody that's going to come before you, regardless of what. You don't have to feel jealous. You are all treated the same, and we love you dearly. We got grandparents that always do that too. Try to make it seem like one grandchild is better than the next. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in that type of situation where, where family members try to make you feel like you're less than another. I never try to make a child feel that way because I know what it feels like. My grandmother on my father's side never made me feel less than. I have other relatives that try to make me feel like I was less than one of my cousins that I grew up with. Try to make it seem like she was better than me. And even when we got older, they still try to play that card. That crap don't work with me. You understand? You have to, at some point when you grow up, even when you're a child, you have to be strong in the mind. And understand when people try to break you down and try to break your spirit, make sure you have something to hold on to. Teach the kids. Prayer is the key to everything. Because a child can only grow up and learn, what they're taught. And some kids, they see things and they have it in their mind, their common sense. Well, I don't want to turn out like this. Or when I have kids, or if I go away, I want to make sure that my life is different. It all comes down to being strong in the mind. You never want to ostracize a child or try to crush their spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's a terrible thing because then they grow up being crushed adults. And it becomes really confusing and hard for them to maintain. And then they want to go along to get along and think that this type of broken love or toxic relationship is how it's supposed to be. I think people really need to step back and take a look at it. Kids count. Their thoughts and their feelings matter. Trust and believe. They're going to grow old. And they might be the ones that take care of you. You never know. Don't try to disrupt somebody's life You know what I'm saying? And their spirit in the flesh, because you don't know what their rank is in the spirit. And I'm not talking about titles like reverends and popes and presidents and CEOs and all that type of thing and pastors and stuff. I'm not talking about the titles. I'm talking about the rank in the spirit that comes straight from Christ. Because a broken vessel is a strong instrument that God has in his hand. Think about that. The next time you try to break somebody down at any age, don't ostracize anybody. Because you never know. That person might be the one that you need to help you cross over and to help you reach to your next breath. Think about it.